Hello, my name is Mirabel Brisita, and this is my final project for Education 521. So I want to start off a little bit with my research problem and my goal. So I have a student who she's in first grade, and she came in with a DRA, a developmental reading. Her developmental reading assessment was a 4 when she ended kindergarten, which is basic. And then by the end of the first trimester in first grade, she has to be at a 10. So when I started working with her, at first I thought, oh, she has it. But then I realized slowly that there were some gaps missing. She really wasn't reading at a level 4 because she couldn't decode a lot of words, which she was comprehension was being left out. She also, I noticed, was missing a lot of basic math skills and math. So one of the biggest goals was her to be able to identify numbers 1 through 20, which she is able to do, but also finding different strategies to adding numbers. And in reading, I just want to see if she can get to a level 6. She's able to read it fluently and able to comprehend it. And this project is important because through the readings, I have learned that it is important to take a constructivist approach as well as instill a growth mindset in our students. I think a growth mindset is this new idea, and it's very, very important to instill that with our students. So, my student, as I mentioned, she's a first grader. She's a female, and I work at a dual immersion school. It's a 90-10 program, so I teach 80% Spanish and 20% math. And starting first grade, she seemed to be doing fairly well, as I mentioned before, but I saw that with one-on-one, I noticed that there was a lot of things that she needed support with. So, how I started my phase 1 action plan in reading, I started working with her 4 times a week for 30 minutes, and we would just begin um, guided reading by reading and decoding words that I had selected from this text, as well as breaking the syllables apart. I worked a lot on just breaking syllables and vocabulary. I would front load vocabulary, then we'd do a picture walk, and eventually we would read to see how she and each of my other small group students were reading. And math, I worked with her 5 days a week for 15 minutes independently, and I think that's kind of what helped her master numbers 1 through 20, because we would play a little 1 through 20 number sort. Um, and then I wanted her to find different ways to compose 10. So we kind of would play games here and there about like who could make a 10 or how many numbers can I add together to make a 10. And then after this, sorry about that, I realized that she did not need support with comprehension because it was something that she was able to do really quick. And so I realized that I had to drop her from my highest group because even though she could comprehend, she wasn't decoding syllables correctly. And then I'm going to go on to phase 3, which I kind of started implementing this week based on some things that also I talked with my principal with and my team with. So this was something in plan, and I started it last week, where we'd give them sentences, and the sentences come from a read aloud, and they really enjoy read alouds. And so we'd read the sentence together, then I'd give them the sentence, and after giving them the sentence, they would actually I'd cut it up, and then they'd have to put the sentence back together, figuring out if it made sense, and they would actually be reading each word. So by the end of the week, I actually gave them last Friday, I gave them a dictation sentence to see if she was able to write the words we had been practicing that week in a complete sentence. It was the same sentence, but since I know she misses a lot of sounds with writing, and she actually did an awesome job, and I was really happy about that. Math, we still are continuing to struggle, so something that I will implement is having her discuss with partners or in a group, different strategies that can be used, and teaching her different strategies, having her add numbers but using different strategies. So, overall, there was a lot that I have learned from my action plans and reflections. I have learned that I need to let my students try to explore and learn things by doing rather than me telling them everything. I need to leave more room for them to discuss and come up with conclusions on their own and to make mistakes. Students learn from their mistakes and need to know that mistakes are good for us. I also realize that at first it might seem as though a student knows everything, but by working with them individually, you start to see their needs and find ways to support them and create different interventions for them.